Hello, and welcome back to StoryTime with Eric Zimmer. Where we last left off in Chocolate Fever, Henry Green escaped from the hospital and came across a schoolyard full of boys. And he managed to scare them off by saying that chocolate fever was the most deadliest disease in the world. I wonder what's going to happen now. Well, we're about to find out. So you ready? Alright, let's begin. Chapter 8. Mac. The truck thumped and rumbled along a superhighway, its powerful headlights cutting a yellow slice through the blackness. Are you alright up there, kid? The driver said. From the sleeping bunk set up high in the cab of the big diesel, Henry answered. Right, Mac, I'm okay. Okay, Henry thought bitterly. Sure I'm okay. I don't have a friend in the world. I look like some sort of sideshow freak. The police and doctors and my folks, and heaven knows who else is after me, and I don't know where I'm going. If that's being okay, then I'm okay. He had stood out on the highway for a long time and watched the day turn to dark. Hundreds of cars and trucks had swept by without stopping. But Mac had stopped and offered him a lift. That was hours ago, and they had come a long way. Henry didn't know how many miles they had traveled or where they were heading, and what's more, he didn't care. He was sure that Mac had not seen his spots. It had probably been too dark to notice them. No one in his right mind would have anything to do with me, Henry thought. Not once they got a look at these stupid big brown spots. Even Mac, nice as he seemed, wouldn't have taken a chance if he had seen me clearly. Hop in, Mac had said. The weather's fine. A huge big grin across his friendly face. He was a huge black man, dressed in dirty coveralls. His truck was clean and warm, and Henry didn't hesitate. After sitting alongside Mac for an hour or so in the front seat, Henry had climbed up to the bunk and fallen quickly asleep. He didn't know how long he had slept, but he felt rested now. As Mac turned the big truck off the highway and onto a service road. Slowly he shifted down through the gears and, braking gently, brought his huge trailer to a stop. Hey kid, he called, come on down here. Henry climbed down to sit beside Mac. Supper time, Mac said. Now just as soon as I get the lights on. I like the dark, Henry said quickly. You what? I like the dark, Henry said as the lights came on. Henry blinked at the sudden brightness. He's seen me now, he thought. Mac reached down below his seat and brought up a big picnic basket. He placed it between them on the seat. Now let's just see what that woman gave us for supper, he said. It's all right, Henry said. I'll get off here. Huh? I won't make any fuss, Henry said. I'll just go quietly. You are a strange one, kid, Mac said. Now what are you talking about? Well, you must have seen these big brown spots all over me by now, Mac nodded. Yeah, I see them. He began looking at his picnic basket. You like ham and cheese? Ah! I'm willing to go, Henry began. Maybe chicken spread. We got chicken spread too. And I do believe... Yes, by heavens, tuna fish. I mean, Henry began again, if you don't want to have anything to do with me, I'll understand. I really will. What'll it be? Mac said. Tuna, chicken spread, or ham and cheese? He was looking squarely into Henry's face, smiling ever so slightly. Tuna, Henry said after a moment, taking the sandwich Mac handed him. Glory be, we eat at last, Mac said. Henry gobbled the tuna sandwich and nothing flat. He went on to dispose of a ham and cheese, an apple, a piece of raisin cake, and half a thermos bottle of milk. There was chocolate cake too, but Henry declined it. Somehow it didn't appeal to him. When they had finished eating, Mac settled back and lighted a cigar. Mac, Henry said, isn't there something you want to ask me? Sure, but I figure you're about to tell me what I want to know. Well, Henry began, I have this disease called chocolate fever. That's what these big brown spots are all over me. Chocolate. And nobody, especially a doctor named Fargo, knows knows what to do about it. So I'll probably have these spots on me for the rest of my life, and that's why you're running away, Mac said. I have to run away, Henry said. I look so terrible and ugly. I wouldn't say ugly, Mac said. Unique, maybe. What's that? Sort of special. But how can I live this way? I'm a freak. A chocolate freak. Easy now, Mac said. Calm down. People will be looking, staring at me. How can I live with people staring at me? Mac chuckled softly. He looked away from Henry. How would you like it, Mac, if people stared at you? Well, you know, kid, I've had some experience in that line myself. But you can't let it get to you, the big man said quietly. You mean people stare at you? Uh-huh, Mac said. You see, when you're black and most of the other people around you are white, then that's bound to happen. Gee, Mac, Henry said, I'm sorry. Oh, it's nothing personal, kid. Besides, by the time I was your age, I'd gotten over it. But you know, getting stared at, and some other things, which we will not discuss, got me thinking. If there's so many white people and so few black people, why, that kind of makes me unique. You mean special? Exactly right. So all that staring and stuff, what it did was make me proud. You know, black is beautiful. That's okay for you, said Henry, but white with big brown spots all over is ugly. Mac put his hand into his mouth and coughed. For a moment, Henry thought he might be laughing. Okay, youngster, he said, have it your own way. Just tell me, where are you going? What do you figure on doing? I'm just running away, Mac, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Mac thought about that for about a second and a half. Just flat out running away, huh? Things get too much for you, so you cut out. Brilliant. I won't go back, Henry said. I just won't. Okay, then, you won't go back. But let me ask you something. You got a mother? Yes. Father? Yes. They've been good to you? Yes. Did they don't beat up on you? Of course not. Don't make your life miserable? No. So they're pretty good parents, right? Right. And you love them because they're so kind and good, right? Yes. Well, how do you think they feel right now? Wondering where you could be. Are you all right? Are you dead, maybe? Yes, sir. You sure are treating them mean. Why, it wouldn't surprise me if your mother was crying her heart out right now. Just sick to death with worrying about you. But Mac, now you hush till I'm finished with what I gotta say. A good child respects his parents. Yes, sir. A good child don't cause his parents heartache or grief or worry. No, sir. Harry didn't try to say anything, but he was listening very carefully. So here's my plan, kid. First thing we do is drive down this road till we get to a telephone. Then we call your folks so they can stop worrying. I'm not going back to that hospital, Henry said firmly. We'll tell that to your folks, too. Maybe there's some place you can go, some other doctor who can take care of you. I like that idea, Henry said. Who knows, Mac continued. Maybe this chocolate fever of yours will go away. Maybe you'll just wake up tomorrow and it'll all be cured. I hope so, said Henry, but I don't think so. Anyways, first thing we do is call your folks, okay? Henry smiled. There was something about the way Mac spoke that made him feel better. How about it, Mac said. Should we go find that telephone? What are we waiting for, Henry said. The world needs more people like Mac. There's no doubt about it. Chapter 9. Hijacked. Mac doused the cap lights and reached for the switch that would start the diesel. But at that very moment, a loud voice came from the darkness outside the truck called, Reach for the sky! Don't make a move! Hands up! We got you covered! Mac froze at the wheel. Henry's heart leaped up in his throat, ricocheted around, and settled back down in his chest again. 2 men jumped up onto the truck, one on each side. Each man carried a small blue revolver. The guns were pointed straight at Mac. After a moment, Mac found his voice. What is this? He asked. The man on Mac's side of the truck, the one with the mustache, replied. This, sir, is a robbery. A stick-up. A hijacking, in fact. Section 3, Part 4 of the Criminal Code. Seizure of a cargo of goods from a vehicle or vessel on the roads or waterways. Oh, said Mac. Right, Louis, said the man on Henry's side of the truck. He was the smaller of the two thieves, and instead of a mustache he wore horn-ribbed glasses and a light, lopsided smile. I'm Lefty. He's Louis, the man went on. Some people get us mixed up sometimes, but I don't know why. My name is Henry Green, said Henry, and he's Mac. Pleased to make your acquaintance, I'm sure, said Louis. Even under these unfortunate circumstances. Polite as they seemed to be, Louis and Lefty were still pointing their guns at Mac and Henry. You sure you want to do this? Mac asked slowly. He seemed to be puzzled by the hijackers. I think you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Trouble, said Louis. You will be in trouble if you don't do exactly what I say. Now climb up to that bunk up there, both of you, so we can get on with the job. Henry did as he was told, with Mac following slowly behind him. Mac was getting angry, Henry could see, but when he spoke his voice was calm. I don't suppose it will do much good to tell you that you are definitely breaking the law, he said. Louis laughed. Breaking the law? Mister, we are fracturing it. And with that, Lefty jumped into the driver's seat. Louis took his place beside him and the truck began to roll. Mac still had something on his mind, and above the roar of the motor he called down to the pair of thieves. You better stop now. I think you're making an awful mistake. There's no mistake about it, Louis said, back over his shoulder. We know exactly what we're doing. We're hijacking a cargo of expensive furs. Mac looked dumbfounded at this last piece of news. Furs, he cried out. Furs? And with that he started to laugh. Great gusts of laughter poured out of Mac. He doubled over one or two times, and finally tears came to his eyes and rolled down his cheeks. Oh, Lord, he cried when he could finally speak. They think they're stealing furs! The more Mac laughed, the more concerned Louis became. He signaled Lefty to stop the truck, and when he had, turned to look up at Mac. In a low voice he said, No furs? Mac, taking care to keep a straight face, simply answered, No furs. Then what? Louis began as Mac interrupted. Candy bars! Mac shouted, the laughter beginning again. Candy bars! Oh no, Louis said. Chocolate bars with almonds. Nuts, exclaimed Lefty. And some without almonds. What are we going to do with a load of chocolate bars, genius? Lefty demanded of Louis. And some with crunch, some without crunch. Chocolate bars, I can't believe it, Louis mumbled. You said this job would be like taking candy from a baby, Lefty said in an angry way.